Well, hello. Napoleon Hill's 17 Principles of Personal Achievement. Lesson number 14 is creative vision. Creative vision is developed by free and fearless use of one's imagination. It's not a miracle quality with which one is gifted or is not gifted at birth. It's really about their vision, their creative vision that they use. Talk Leadership with Cedric starts now. Well, hello and welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedric. Everybody needs a little TLC. Talk Leadership with Cedric is where we focus on leadership and personal growth with business leaders, educators, and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. See, our guiding leadership principle is the law of contribution, which says growing yourself enables you to grow others. See, you can't give what you don't have. So first you must grow yourself in order to grow others. We believe that outstanding leaders like yourself will help us to help others. So tonight we have another dynamic leader with us. So, every week I like to do a proper introduction of my guests. So let me properly introduce you to Miss Carrie Goodley. Carrie is the Chief Executive Officer of Goodley and Associates Consulting. She is a proud alumnus of McNeese State University. Carrie's area of expertise is in credit restoration. So listen up if you got bad credit, budgeting, business credit building, business funding, and financial planning. So if you want to get your money right, you need to make sure you stay tuned tonight. Carrie takes pride in her service-oriented approach to help clients reach their financial goals. Her mission is to empower those in her community to take control of their financial situation. Carrie believes that this can be achieved by giving people the knowledge and the skills that they need to make more sound financial decisions. So welcome, Carrie, to the show.
Thank you for having me, Cedric. I really, really appreciate you thinking of me and bringing me on to kind of share my ideas and just help you empower some of your listeners today.
Well, awesome. Well, I'm glad you accepted the invite, and I was so looking forward to this conversation. So, folks, first of all, you can see her website link is right on the screen, goodleyandassociates.com. So make sure if you need the financial help and financial support, resources, tools, you go and check Carrie out. Now, let's just have some conversation here. Let's just have some fun tonight.
Yeah,
so, Carrie, I read your bio, but our audience normally likes to hear directly from you your journey to leadership and entrepreneurship, and how did you get to where you are today?
Oh my gosh. So where I am today is really a long time coming. And you think about people sharing their testimonies like, God brought me through the same situations that I'm helping other people get through. And that's true. God brought me through poverty. God brought me through bad credit. God brought me through, mismanaging money and not filing taxes on time. And so I needed to go through those situations to be able to get to the point now to where I specialize in the things that I struggled with. And I just kind of think of myself as a guide. I'm a guide that gets to help people out of the same situations that I once put myself in. So that's kind of how I got to where I was, is just through my own struggles and identifying that and coming to terms with it and kind of working myself out of it.
Well, nothing beats experience, right? Now, there are some experiences we don't want to have, right?
Right.
But nothing beats experience. So this is awesome that you've taken your challenges maybe that you've gone through, or life's experiences that you've gone through, and turn it into an entrepreneurial venture. So let's talk a bit about your business. So Goodley and Associates. All right. So tell us all the different services that you provide, and tell us well, I think we kind of know why you started the business because it was, but if you want to explain that a little bit more, totally you can.
Absolutely. So, my business is called Goodley and Associates Consulting. I own a financial consulting firm. I've been in the financial services industry for going on 6 years now, and I actually got started working in large firms, investing people's money to help them retire. And then I realized that wasn't really my passion. I didn't feel like I was making an impact there. You know, I was chasing people that already had a lot of money, but my passion was really in helping people in different demographics to help them close the wealth gap, because there is a wealth gap here in America and it's pretty broad. So that became my passion. And as I was fasting and praying, I asked God, you know, this is not what I like to do. I love helping people and I love money, but I really want to help the people that need it most. So what do you want me to do? And God spoke to me. And the first thing he asked me to do was begin to help people repair their credit. And I said, well, I'm not qualified to do that. And he said, well, you're qualified because I qualified you. No man is going to qualify you. I'm telling you that you're qualified. And this is where my people need the most help, because they cannot build wealth if you don't help them with their financial infrastructure. And it starts at the foundation. So you know that without a good foundation, a house is not going to stand solid. The same thing with your finances. If you don't have good credit, you really can't go to the bank and ask them to help you build wealth, because a lot of people, when they build wealth, they don't use their own money. They use someone else's money, and it's usually a lender. So I started there. And then I said, well, God, how do I, you know, become a valuable resource? I don't want to just be the credit repair lady. That's not my end goal. And so as I've come along in my business, God at different times has told me to add different services to my business. And we've started out with credit repair. I'm a financial planner by trade. So of course we did that. Then we got into taxes. And I love being a business owner. So why wouldn't I help people start and run and own their own businesses, and then obtain capital to be able to grow their businesses? So those are the services that we offer. And it started with the services that were important to me and the services that God laid on my heart to provide to his people. So that's credit repair, tax preparation, financial planning. We help people start and file their business articles with different states. We help them build their business credit, and we help them obtain capital for their business to keep themselves going during times like this, in a pandemic where, you know, business is not at an all-time high. The economy is not at an all-time high, but we need to keep those businesses going, because small businesses are the backbone of this economy.
You're absolutely right. And I'm actually writing some notes down here because I wanted to ask you some follow-up questions around this, because, one, the first thing that I really love what you said is you wanted to help close the wealth gap.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
It's a real thing, especially in the Black community, if you will.
Yeah.
And For the most part, and I'm going to speak holistically here, for the most part, we don't grow up with parents teaching us how to even just do a regular budget, right? We don't traditionally grow up with parents saying, "Hey, let's put money in a bank, or let's invest it in a stock market," right?
That's right. Yeah.
And we don't grow up sometimes with families that own businesses, so we don't know these things because they're not really teaching that in school.
Right.
Right. So now this is a great opportunity for you out there in the audience. If you are looking for someone to help you in these areas, if you're looking to say, hey, I want to teach my children how to do this, but you don't know how. Well, here's a great resource for
Absolutely.
you to turn to. So Carrie, in closing this wealth gap, part of it, you talked about starting up businesses. Is entrepreneurship the way to go for most people in 2020?
Absolutely. With the economic downturn that we're experiencing, there's so many people that are being laid off. They're jobless, they're furloughed, and we can't necessarily depend on our government to make sure that we still have revenue coming in our households to pay our bills. We've seen it with the government saying, oh, everyone's going to get approved for unemployment, but then we see people struggling to even obtain those minimal benefits from their state, local, or local employment offices. So they're having to do without. And I really just feel blessed that through this time, because I had the foresight to have a business, and it really wasn't for a time like this. It was just because I wanted freedom, that I didn't have to depend on an employer to keep me employed. And not only did we thrive during the pandemic, but we were able to start working on establishing other businesses and other forms of revenue. Because let's face it, if you want to be wealthy, one form of revenue is just not going to do it. You're going to need a minimum of 7 to be wealthy. So we're working on our 5th business now, and it's because we were able to stay home and hunker down and just continue to push forward in that aspect. But I would call myself a serial entrepreneur, and I love it. And I would say to anybody that wants to open a business, just go for it.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. And yes, entrepreneurship is definitely the way to go for most people. If you have a passion about something, if you are considering entrepreneurship, it's definitely a pathway you should go. So here's what I want to tell people. Look, the gold watches are no longer coming. Right. So forget about those gold watches when you go to a company, you work there for 30 years or 40 years and you get a gold watch and they pat you on the back and say, great job. Right. That's no longer coming.
Right.
And your grandparents used to say, don't let the grass grow under your feet. Right. People now need to have, instead of a gold watch, a Fitbit. You see, they need a Fitbit to remind them that they need to stay nimble and quick and move.
Yeah. And a pair of tennis shoes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's about, in today's market, it's about adaptability, flexibility, and being, So I love that you're talking about helping entrepreneurs and trying to encourage people to go into entrepreneurship. So in this time of COVID, this COVID crisis, what impact has that had on your business?
I would love to give you the standard story that our business has been negatively affected by COVID, but in my relationship with God, He has given me the foresight to, when I opened my business, or when I opened our business, because He's my partner. Mm-hmm. When I opened our business, it was already a virtual business, because we saw automation coming in and taking jobs, and the wave of Amazon, and people didn't really like to go into the store. They wanted to do virtual meetings or handle their business virtually. And so I cater to that audience that knows that they need to get their finances together. They need to have that structure in place, but they don't want to go into an office to do so. They want their quick phone call or their quick email to let them know how they're doing, or a FaceTime or a Zoom. So I saw that early on. And because we were already operating as a virtual business during the pandemic, we actually thrived during that time when everybody was on lockdown. Because when people are locked down and they're not able to go to work, they were actually thinking, okay, what do I need to do in my life to help advance my family? And a lot of them were thinking of finances. So we actually got more calls than we did before we got shut down.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. If I would have told people, or if anyone would have told someone at the end of last year, that not only your subdivision, not only your local community, not only your city, not only your state, but the entire United States, in fact, the whole world would be shut down. You can't leave your house and can't go to work. People would laugh at you and go, you are crazy.
Yeah, that's some scary stuff, right?
Exactly. But COVID was a wake-up call for people, and so this is perfect time for a business like yours that you can do it virtually and help people understand the importance of having those multiple streams of income. So one of the things I do in this entrepreneur boot camp that I teach is I teach about this concept called micro streams of income. And micro streams, for people that are out there that don't understand this. So this is sort of like Burger King. Okay. Burger King, they're in the fast food industry, and they have all these customers coming in. However, they understood that disruption was going to happen, and they needed more a new niche, right? Or niche, however you want to pronounce it. Well, a micro stream. What did they do? They brought in the Impossible Burger, because what are they doing is they're targeting someone that would never go into a Burger King, a vegan or vegetarian.
And that was smart.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you have to have these micro streams of income in order to survive. So for business owners, for entrepreneurs that are out there, don't just look at whatever business you currently have. Start looking at how can you identify smaller niches within the niche that you're in right now, because that's going to create an additional stream of revenue. What it also does is it separates you from the competition.
Absolutely. And what I like to tell people is figure out a problem that you can solve. Some of the most successful businesses that you see are people solving problems.
Yes.
And if you can identify a problem in your community that someone else isn't solving or doing for the people in that community, and you can efficiently figure out how you can solve it, that can be a great stream of revenue for you.
Absolutely. Marcus Davis, the owner of the Breakfast Club in Houston, he was speaking to a group of entrepreneurs, and he said, look, the market is going to consciously or unconsciously tell you what it wants. Mm-hmm. And all you have to do is listen. And this is exactly what you're saying right now. Listen for the gaps. See where the gaps are.
Yep.
Right. And then try to fill in those gaps. This is awesome. I'm so excited. So, Carrie, tell me, what makes you smile when you get up in the morning?
The amount of impact that I get to have. Because what I do, it's so major, and I feel so blessed to be chosen and to for God to anoint me with that jurisdictional authority to do what I get to do, because I get to help people from the ground up build wealth for their families. And a lot of what I do is helping people to buy their first home. And as you know, your first home is one of the biggest assets you'll buy. And it a lot of times is the gateway to start building other streams of revenue and build residual wealth for your family. So that's really what makes me smile, is the amount of impact that I get to have on my community, and that I get to help people reach their goals just a little bit faster with my help than if they were trying to do it on their own and having to make mistakes, where we can avoid those mistakes and get them to their goal a little bit quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I like that you just said that. Folks, the law of significance says one is too small a number to achieve greatness. So that means you don't have to do it alone. Just call Goodley and Associates, right?
That's right.
She's already gone through some of the growing pains or made some of the mistakes. So now she can help you. Just like you say, you want to help, let's say if you have a child, you want to help them not make mistakes that you made. Well, this is exactly what Carrie is going to do for you with Goodley and Associates, help you understand how to navigate all those waters, whether it's starting up a business, whether it's financial coaching, whether it's credit repair. And in fact, let's talk about this credit repair piece, Carrie, because I know that has to be a big, I see all the advertisements out there right now with different companies with credit repair. So there must be a big need for this right now. What are people why are people struggling so much with this?
It starts with budgeting, actually. I remember when my credit was, my score was very low. It was because my bills had gotten away from me and I didn't have a solidified budget. When I solidified my budget and I figured out where my dollars were actually going and where I could meaningfully allocate those dollars moving forward, and I kind of locked that budget down, then I was able to see my score go up, because Then when you realize what's going on with your budget and where your dollars need to be allocated, you can understand, okay, when should my bills be paid? What is money actually going to? And if it's going to things that are not serving you at that time, you can just do away with those items and reallocate that to something like paying your student loans down faster, or paying your credit cards down faster, or just reallocating it to something that will help you and further you along later on. So that was really, that's the starting point, is figuring out what your budget is. And then from there, we look at our clients' credit reports to determine what's actually hurting the score, because everything that we think is negative is not actually hurting the score. The credit scoring algorithm has 5 variables in it. The first variable, which accounts for 35% of the score, is payment history. And that just is, it grades you on how well you pay your bills on time. 30% of your score is allocated towards credit card utilization. So if you have a credit card, is it maxed out? Are you using your credit cards responsibly? 15% of your score is due to your credit mix. So what types of items do you have on your credit report? Is it all installment loans like car loans, personal loans, things like that? Or do you have a good mixture of like a car loan, a personal loan, and maybe a couple of credit cards? So the scoring algorithm, as well as lenders, want to see that you're responsible with different types of debt. 10% is going to be your length of credit history. So how long do you keep accounts open? Do you renew a loan every 12 months? That'll drop your history down and essentially drop your score. And then the last 10% is inquiries. So how often are you inquiring for credit? Inquiries are the smallest percentage, but they can hurt your score, because if you're applying for a lot of credit at one time, it looks like you're about to be in financial distress, and the scoring algorithm will read it as such. So we help our clients understand what impacts their score, what variables that they can be looking at. And if they've made mistakes in the past, that's okay. Any mistake, any financial mistake can be fixed over time. I'm a living testimony of that. But to understand how the scoring algorithm works so that you can manipulate certain parts of it for your betterment. So, and when I say manipulate, I don't mean that in a bad way, but if you can quickly pay down some credit card debt, that gives you a score boost. And that's something that you can control. If you can start paying your bills, all of your bills on time from now until forever, because you've got a budget in place, over time, that's going to manipulate your score in a positive direction as well. So it's about understanding the score, not just, you see a lot of, we need to dispute and delete things. It's way more than that.
Yeah. And so is this an overnight process?
It is not an overnight process. And I try to tell people, repairing your credit, you want to give yourself about at least 6 months to get the job done. And no credit repair specialist can guarantee you a certain number of removals, but a good credit repair specialist will help you maximize your score while you're in their program. So you have to think about it like this. Usually when our credit goes bad, it goes bad over a length of time, right? It doesn't usually it doesn't just happen overnight. It happens over a period of time. So you have to think about how long it took your credit to get to where it is. And you can't expect that type of damage to be mitigated in 30, 60, or 90 days. It is a process and it takes a while.
Okay. All right. So, and then you said how many months? Because when you said it, the internet kind of like blipped a little bit. So it didn't come across. How long you normally say the process normally takes?
Sure. I tell my clients the process will take at least 6 months. Okay. I would give yourself at least 6 months to go through a good credit repair program and see your score get maximized to the full potential of what that company can help you do so.
Okay. So, and this is a really good point here. And you even hit on the head. You said budget is the first thing. So, and I want to clarify for audience so that they understand this. Once you help them put a budget in place, it's not like, well, Carrie's helped us put a budget in place. Our credit score is going up. Now we can just go back and do what we want, right? It has to be a complete then lifestyle change.
It does. You have to be able to maintain your newfound credit score, your newfound budget, or you'll be back in my program again. And you know how we love our customers, but you know, once you graduate from the program, we really hope that you don't have to come back again, because it means that something, a negative financial situation has taken place, and then we have to try to mitigate that, or you know, repair that all over again, which could push you back on your goals. So it's very important. You know, it's not transactional. You have to be accountable in a program like mine. You have to be patient, and you have to be resilient, because sometimes we're going to send letters off and request for things to be removed, and we may get a no, and that's okay. But we have to figure out different approaches to take to try to get the answer that we want. And it's the same thing when you own a business. So I'm a business owner. There are many times where I fail and I don't do things, you know, things don't turn out the way that I want them to turn out. Every time that happens, if I packed up and closed my business because of that, and I was not resilient enough to push through it, then I would never achieve my goals. It's the same thing with repairing your credit and getting your finances in order after years of them kind of being in shambles, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely love that. The way you phrase that and the way you put that. And I want audience to understand that, like you said, it's not an overnight process, and you have to be accountable then once it happens. And Carrie wants to see you again, but she wants to see you not in the credit repair part. She wants to see you now. You're coming back to learn how to be an entrepreneur. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So if your client, if one of your clients were sitting right here, right now, what would they say about you and your service?
They would probably say I send them too many emails. So when you're in my program, we communicate a lot. And it is a virtual program. So my clients understand that, you know, they're going to get a lot of emails from us. They're going to get emails with alerts letting them know what's going on with their file while they're in the program. But then they would say that we communicate a lot. They get a lot of communication from us. But my clients would also say that I'm very ethical and I'm very honest. Sometimes it's not all about the money for me. And my affiliates will tell you this, and my affiliates are for people who don't know what an affiliate is. These are the people that send me my clients. So we really don't do any soliciting in my business. All of my business is sent to me via word of mouth, through either affiliates or existing or past clients. So those are the people that we get. So they would say that I get referred a lot of business because we've proved to be honest. And there are times where it's not just about the money. So I may have a client call me and I look over their reports and I look at their finances and I say, well, you don't need to pay someone like myself to fix your credit, because there's really nothing wrong with your credit. You're trying to buy a house. Okay, this is how you get your score up. Do this, this, and this. And if you can do that on your own. You don't have to pay me. So that's what it's about. And people know that when they call us, it's not just about pay me to enroll, pay me to enroll, pay me to enroll. You know, we're gonna walk you through what you need, and we're gonna send you on our way. And as long as I don't have to do it for you, I'm not gonna charge you.
That's awesome. So adding value to other people. And here's the beautiful thing, Carrie, and to our audience here. Here's what I like about what you just said. One, it's really sort of like generosity. Generosity is not what we do; it's who we are, right? Generosity is less like an arrow, and it's more like a boomerang, right? When you do something good to help someone else, you're going to feel good about it, but that other person is going to feel good about it. And guess what's going to happen? Something good is going to come back to you, not because you're doing it because of that, but it just happens.
Yeah.
Right?
And then we go and tell other people the good that you did for them. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely love it. So, you know, leaders, Carrie, come in all different types of, with all different types of strengths and packages. What strengths do you feel are important for successful leaders?
I would say resilience has to be the number one thing, because you're going to have people that are following you that may question you. Those people are going to see you fail, because as a leader and an entrepreneur, you're going to fail. And it's not when you fail or if you fail, it's how you fail. And if you can fail with grace and dignity and compassion, and show that resilience to other people, then that's what makes them follow you. So I think that resilience has to be the number one thing that any leader or business owner has to have, or you won't make it.
Yeah.
You know, a good leader, people will run off of a cliff for that person. Not that that leader wants them to, but it's because their followers believe in them so much. And usually people will believe in you in that type of way because of what they've seen you do, how you inspire them and the good that comes from you. So, you know, you do have to be resilient. You do have to have compassion for people. And secondly, you have to be willing to empower people and not necessarily want any type of gain from it. So my business is strictly around empowering other people to make smart financial decisions, to build residual income for their families, to build a legacy for their children. You know, all I do is solve problems and empower people to make good decisions. And that's why I have the type of following that I have.
I love what you just said. Solve problems. I'm going to put that up on the screen. Problems and what was the second thing you said? Solve problems and
empower other people.
Empower others. Yes. I absolutely love that. So I'm going to put this on the screen so that you guys can see that, right? That just hits you right in the face, right? So when you go to Goodley and Associates, get ready for her to solve your problems and then empower you in your finances or empower you in entrepreneurship. I absolutely love that. You know, Carrie, good leaders ask great questions. So what are some good questions that either you ask people or you've heard asking, you went, wow, that's a really great question?
Well, that's a good question. I've kind of thought about that, but I would think that the question that I always ask myself that helps me sleep good at night is, am I doing enough to help other people? And I really feel like this is important because I tell my husband this all the time. He says I'm so outspoken. He would laugh if he saw this, but he says I'm so outspoken. And my motto is, if you're in the position to help someone, you have an obligation to do so. Yeah. So if you don't, then there's this guilt about it, or there should be, you know. So I do consider myself a person that speaks up for people that aren't able to speak for themselves. And so sometimes that may make me appear outspoken, but I feel like I have an obligation to do that. So I would say that's the question that should be asked. Are you doing enough? Are you helping enough? Is your impact great enough? What will people say about your legacy when you're no longer here? Has your footprint been big enough?
I love this. Is your impact big enough? Wow, that one right there is good. So here's, folks, why I love some of the things that Carrie is saying. Right. So I'm in the leadership development space, helping people challenge the norm, helping people get outside their comfort zone, helping people think, helping people grow bigger than themselves are things that I absolutely love. So what she's dropping on you tonight are nuggets that you should take, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're working in corporate America, whether you have good credit or you have poor credit, whether you have $1 or you have $1 million, no matter who you are. These are great nuggets that Carrie is dropping on you. And I just want to make sure that you don't miss these. Okay. So those are definitely two great questions, and to make people think and reflect. And you use one of the phrases that I use all the time is that people say, well, why do you, like for me, I drive from Houston to Lake Charles to work with companies and our students. And I said, well, I don't feel it's an obligation. I feel like I have a responsibility.
Absolutely.
For people who much have been given, much is expected, right?
Exactly.
And so that's I tell people all the time, especially students, they'll say, why do you drive from Houston to Lake Charles all the time? I said, because I know that one, I have value to give, and I can't just sit back and hold it and let it just go to waste. And another thing you said is 100 years from now, what do you want people to say about you and what you did in this world? And so that's awesome. We'll keep making that impact, Carrie. And I know that your customers will definitely appreciate that. And if they don't, they should. So, a lot of times new entrepreneurs give up or they throw in the towel. What advice would you give someone they're right there on the cusp of giving up because the business didn't work the way they thought it was going to work, or for whatever reason?
I would say we have to get out of that instant mentality with social media now and all these social media millionaires and overnight successes. We have developed this microwave type of mentality where we want instant results. We try something for 2 to 3 months, and if it doesn't work, we're ready to quit. And what I would tell any business owner, and I'm not ashamed to say this, is that I struggled as an entrepreneur for 7 years before I became successful. And to me, it doesn't bother me because 7, number one, that's the number of completion. So it's a blessed number. And I'm blessed for God to have brought me through those struggles because it sharpened me. And it created the person that you see today, someone who is resilient and someone who has the know-how to help people out of that same situation. But you will struggle as an entrepreneur, and you have to develop a tough skin about yourself, a resilience about yourself, and a don't quit type of attitude about yourself, because you have to sacrifice for what you want. If you don't, what you want will begin to be a sacrifice. So in other words, you have to be working when no one else wants to work, doing the things that no one else wants to do, to be able to live the lifestyle that a lot of people are not afforded to live. We all get the same 24 hours in a day. A lot of us have a harder life than others, and it's not about the cards that you're dealt, it's just how you play your hand.
Wow. I'm going to just record that section right there and just hold that and just play it for people. Folks, you're getting some good stuff tonight. I'm going to have to pass the offering plate. I'm sorry, but I'm going to send you my Cash App, and you guys are going to have to pay for this information. This is just awesome. So, Carrie, we have a segment on the show that we call Would You Rather. So we're going to play Would You Rather right now. So would you rather meet your great grandkids or your great grandparents?
Oh my gosh. I would say I would rather meet my great grandkids.
Great grandkids? Okay. Yeah. All right. Would you rather have a life rewind button or a life pause button?
I'd rather rewind so that I can go back and fix things, but I'm not a pauser. Like, I got to keep moving. So if you rewind me, I can still, play and go forward and keep moving. If you pause me, that's not gonna work.
You don't want to have that.
No, I don't have that sit still mentality.
Okay. So would you rather go to dinner alone or go to a concert alone?
Dinner alone.
Dinner alone. Okay. All right. 2 more. Would you rather be a ninja or be a pirate?
Oh, I'd rather be a ninja because pirates steal, and I don't like that.
See, I just want to be a ninja so I can throw one of those stars at people.
Yeah, I'd rather be a ninja.
Last one. Would you rather have $1 million in Amazon gift cards or $100,000 in real money?
$100,000 in real money.
In real, okay, all right. See, I'm gonna take the Amazon gift cards because, one, I'm shopping on Amazon all the time. The next thing I'm gonna try to do is to take the gift cards, Amazon gift cards, and turn them into like Visa or MasterCard gift cards and get cash with it, and then invest that cash.
See, a lot of those Visa or MasterCards, like they don't have a debit function. So yeah,
Oh,
you
well,
have to like resell the Amazon gift cards for a discount. That's yeah. Just give me my $100,000 and let me start investing that.
awesome. Well, thank you for playing the segment of Would You
Sure.
Rather. All right. So, one of the things that I love what you're doing and what you're talking about here, and is that around the entrepreneurship part is you're not only doing it yourself, but you're also teaching your children these things, right?
Yeah.
And little birdie told me that your daughter Brooklyn is an entrepreneur, and she's going to be on a show that I know about. Pretty soon. And so what made you decide to not push entrepreneurship on your children, but tell them about and introduce entrepreneurship to them?
Honestly, it wasn't something that I had to push or promote to Brooklyn. We're already very close, so she shadows me a lot. And I'm one of those parents. I like to promote free and independent thought. So allow them to do their own research, figure out what they like and what they don't like, to kind of help them develop into. Because I have teenagers, so they're going to be adults soon, and they're going to, soon we won't be able to tell them what to do anyway. So Brooklyn shadowed me a lot, and what she liked the most was she liked the income, and that I could pretty much decide what I made, and it was based on how hard I worked. And she also liked the fact that I had freedom. I had freedom in my schedule. I had freedom to decide and prioritize what I wanted to do every day. And she likes having parents that every time she has an event, because my kids are in sports, we don't have to miss anything, because we don't have to ask if we can have off. We don't have to, miss work for it. We can just go and do what we want to do. And it's because we've taken back that freedom from corporate America and we build it for ourselves here. And so I think that's what inspired Brooklyn to say, hey, I want to start early and open my own business. And we kind of talked about, what business she would open. And my advice to her was sell what you like to buy. And so that's what she did. She sells things online that she likes to buy.
Well, that is awesome. I'm going to put it on the screen for our audience just so that they will know, and then they can make sure that they put it on their calendar to support Brooklyn. She's going to be on our Empowered Living platform and the Black Entrepreneur Institute live show on December 22nd. It's a Tuesday, December 22nd. We're going to be featuring Brooklyn and her Crowned Bee business. And you're going to get to really see her, and she's going to talk about herself and her business, and we want you to support her. It's coming out right before Christmas, so you still have time to order some things, and so I'm excited for you. But right now, as this show airs, you can still go to the website right now and order something even before Brooklyn is seen live on the Empowered Living network, and we'll be advertising about it. But I just wanted to put that out there, and it's so great to see youth entrepreneurs.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting just to see how their mind works. And I tell people all the time, Brooklyn is so much smarter than I was when I was her age. She's so much more focused. And I think it's because kids nowadays, they have access to so much more than we did. I did when I was her age. And so their mind is more advanced, in my opinion. So, even for young entrepreneurs, we have to nurture them and develop them the most, because my 16-year-old knows how to market better than I do.
It is amazing that technology, and Brooklyn is in that age group where she's we call them an iGener. And for those of you who don't know, iGen are kids who are between the ages of 8 and 24 right now, and they don't know a world without the internet.
No.
it's just so amazing, and I love it that we have so many youth entrepreneurs. So people, don't kill your kids' dream. We interviewed on the Black Entrepreneurs Institute show 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 11-year-olds. We interviewed one young lady. She's 11 now. Her mother, oh no, she's 14, 15 now, but they bought her a building when she was 11 to start her business, and it's thriving. So when your kid says that they have this idea, see, in the old days when I was growing up, the parents go sit down, child. You don't know what you're talking about. You're too
Yeah.
young, right? Don't kill your kid's dream. They can be extremely successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Especially with the right resources and encouragement.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So growth has to be intentional in for it to happen. You know, we won't just wake up one day and say, "Oh, we're growing and getting better," and all this type of stuff. What do you do for personal and professional growth?
Well, as a business owner, I figured that it was very important and it added great value to me to have a mentor. So I have business mentors. I have a spiritual mentor. I have, and I also have a panel of business mentors that help me with my business. But it's also important for me to, expound on my spiritual relationship with my God. So you heard me say earlier, that's who my business partner is, and it's true. I get led and guided a lot spiritually by, my God that I worship. And then I read as well. So I like to read different books. Right now I'm reading The Esther Anointing. So this is a really cool book. I finished The Prayer of Jabez. I don't have it because I actually gave it to a friend to read. So I like to read stuff like that. Also, another good one for Christian entrepreneurs is I have Crushing by T.D. Jakes. This is an amazing book, and it talks about how God will crush you, how we crush grapes to make wine. And God will essentially crush you in your life to make you more beautiful and fit you for new wineskins. So a lot of times as an entrepreneur, a Christian in general, we go through these hard times in life. And a lot of times it's not because God is punishing us, it's because he's crushing us to make us into this beautiful, voluptuous, tasty wine that other people can enjoy for years to come. So that's a great book. So yes, I read on my spare time. I have business coaches and I also have a life coach. So I think that those are really important if you want to grow and take yourself to the next level, because as an entrepreneur, it's not just about the business, right? It's about your mentality, and your business is only as strong as your mind. So if you are not strengthening your mind and your mental capacity, your business will only grow so far. Your mind is kind of like that fish in the fish tank.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll only get as big as the tank. If your business will only get as big as your mind or your imagination will allow it to.
Absolutely. And I will tell you what, I remember, Carrie, when I was in fifth grade, my teacher, I'll never forget her, Miss Kubion, told me, if you don't read a book this year, I'm going to fail you. I don't care what your grades are.
Wow.
And I forced myself to read a book, right? Because my mom used to make us read, and so I said, I'm not reading anymore. But when I grew up and became a little bit wiser, I realized that reading is the only way. So now I go through and I read, sometimes I go through periods where I'm reading a book a month, go through periods where I say, here are a group of books that I want to read consistently. And I'm going to throw out a couple of books as well. First of all, the one we're taking a group right now, a group of entrepreneurs through this book. It's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, A Black Choice.
Yep. Great.
Right. The other book that I want to just point out to people, actually there are two. This one here by Grant Cardone. And Grant Cardone, by the way, is a LaGrange High School graduate for all you.
Yes. I
right?
love Grant Cardone and his 10x philosophy. He's like so awesome.
Yes, who's got my money, right? And then this one, you can't, it's going to be hard to see a little bit, but it's called How Successful People Think.
Oh, nice.
It's a great book. And yeah, reading is something that's definitely imperative. Growth will not happen, folks, unless you grow yourself. And you have to be very intentional about it. But go get the book, Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, or you can get the original version, Think and Grow Rich. It's an awesome read. It's very deep, but you will come out on the other side of it a whole lot better. One last book is As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Awesome read.
Yeah. And I would say this to people who don't necessarily like to read, but they like to intake information. So I had trouble with this. I found myself when I would try to read books, I would all of a sudden get busy or get tired or get bored reading. Try Audible by
Oh,
Amazon,
yeah.
and it reads it to you. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
usually how I have to get through a book. I listen to it on Audible.
Yes, absolutely. That's how I get through a lot of books is via
Mm.
Audible. But when I read, also you'll see here I have all these tabs. So we're teaching this book right now, but when I read, I have all these tabs and I have so many highlights because I highlighted. See, reading is not just about getting the book and being done with it. It's
Mhm.
about retaining some of the information so that you can use it at some point because it's going to come back to you if you retain it, right?
Absolutely.
So awesome. So you talked about you have different mentors. So tell me, what's been the best thing that's happened to you this year?
I would say just growth in general. We've been able to grow through the tough times, and we're really proud of what we've been able to accomplish as a company. We've been able to hire on staff this year to help more people, and just our reach has broadened. I would say that's what I'm most proud of is that our reach has broadened in a short amount of time because I've been in this industry for going on 6 years, but Goodley and Associates is only 2 years old. And in those 2 years, we've doubled our revenue year after year. And like I said before, it wasn't about the money, it was about the impact. But when people understand that you really are a problem solver and you're just good at what you do, those people will follow you, whether you solicit them or not. Because again, we don't solicit any business. I rarely run ads on Facebook. I don't cold call people. All of our business is inbound. And it's just because of that reputation that we've developed of doing right by people, and just doing what we say we're going to do when we say we're going to do it.
That is awesome. So what would you say has been the most defining moment in your life so far? I mean, you're young, but still.
I would say the most defining moment in my life was, and this is a long time ago, would be my first failed business. My first business, I owned a lighting showroom and it failed miserably. It was so bad. Like I can't even explain how bad it was when we failed. It was like everything worked against us, so that business would not thrive. And our first year, we made $200,000 and still had to close our doors a few years later because of so many different variables. And I would say that was a defining moment in my life because I could have taken that epic fail and buried my head between my legs and just said, I'm never going to be an entrepreneur again. This is not for me. I'm not going to try this. And all that really did was fuel me to say, okay, that's just a drop in the bucket. What can I fail at next? Because I understood early on as an entrepreneur that I was going to fail. So my mindset was, okay, you're going to fail. So let's play a game and fail as much as you can, because after all the failures, then you're going to start seeing the success. So
Wow.
that's what I did. So I
Wow.
would say that's a defining moment for me.
So you had persistence, consistency, resilience. You had all of those things that said, "Hey, I want to do this again."
Yeah. I jumped off the cliff and hit my head so bad, and I was just dumb enough to get up and climb back up that cliff and jump again and again and again.
This didn't hurt enough.
Second time I wore a helmet. The third time I wore some knee pads and shoulder pads, but I kept doing it. So, and that's why I joke, but I just love business. And I am one of those serial entrepreneurs. Like, I can't have enough businesses.
But that is that's awesome. So you worked in the financial services industry for a number of years, and so here's a question, and I hear, especially in our community, a lot. Do you have to come from money to make money, or do you have to come from money to go to a whole nother level in terms of your finances?
Let me start by saying this: wealth is a mindset. It's not an actual number in your bank account. There's people that have a lot of money and they're still poor mentally. So you don't have to come from money to make money, or to come into money, or to have a successful business. I don't come from money. I was a teen mom. So my daughter, Brooklyn, I raised her by myself, and we struggled for the first 7 years of her life. So she doesn't necessarily come from money either, but she has a wealthy mindset. I have a wealthy mindset, and I pass that on. Anybody that I touch, I share my wealthy mindset with them to encourage them. It's all about empowerment, really, because you can have both legs amputated. But if you have the mindset that I am not broken, I am not brittle, I can run, you can get prosthetics and begin to strengthen your body to start running again. Your life is not over when something bad happens to you, or your life is not stuck because you didn't come from money. Money has to come from you, and it starts with your mind.
Absolutely. I couldn't have scripted a better response, because that's a challenge for people that grow up in maybe disadvantaged neighborhoods. They think that, oh, those people, they had that, they were given this and all this type of stuff. But you're absolutely right. It starts right here. It
Can I
starts
share
right
a story with you? You know my parents.
here.
So my parents were raised in the rice mill, which is a city, a neighborhood in North Lake Charles. They do not come from money, but so my dad, his father passed away when he was 6. And my mom was raised in a single parent household. So neither one were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, but they worked so hard, and they supplemented their income by building this real estate empire. And they literally, and I'm not saying this to be funny, but they literally come from nothing, but so much comes from them. And that's a lot of where my inspiration comes from, because they were so mentally strong and wealthy minded and legacy minded that they were not going to leave this earth and not have anything to show for it. So they started from the ground up and just built brick by brick by brick together. And it took a strong partnership to get there. And it came from 2 people that started from nothing.
Nothing. Yes. Perfect example. I grew up with Chris and your mom, and you're right. It's all about mindset, and I wanted to end the show on that, because a lot of times, especially in our community, we get this in our head that it's about where you started, and your circumstances does not predict or control where you end up. And
Absolutely not.
so this is awesome. I've had a great, this hour has went by fast. We could talk
I know.
another hour. Well, I want to first of all say thank you, Carrie, for coming on Talk Leadership with Cedric. I've enjoyed it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it.
I sure have.
Well, awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the show with Brooklyn again. Brooklyn it's going to be on December 22nd on the Empowered Living network channel that we have on Facebook. It's going to be the Black Entrepreneurs Institute live show. So make sure you check that out and make sure you let me put Carrie's website back up here. Go to her website and give her some love and participate in her business. And hey, guys, as I always tell you, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.